In the dark alleys of crime history, certain names emerged drenched not just in notoriety but in blood, gangsters whose rise to power was paved with corpses. This is not the tale of the smooth-talking mobsters of Hollywood fiction or the cigar-smoking dons sitting behind velvet-draped desks. This is a chronicle of the coldest, most calculated killers who ran empires from the barrel of a gun, those for whom life was a disposable currency. Chapter 1, The Architect of Annihilation, Salvatore Toto Riina. If there was ever a devil in a well-tailored Italian suit, it was Toto Riina, the boss of bosses of the Sicilian Mafia. Known as La Belva the Beast, Riina didn't just kill his enemies, he made a spectacle of it. His rule, from the 1970s to the early 1990s, marked the most violent era in Mafia history. Riina orchestrated over 150 murders, though many sources suggest the number could easily surpass 400 if we count indirect executions, rivals, judges, police officers, and even politicians. In a society where omerta reigned, Riina took terror to an institutional level. Bombings, kidnappings, and high-profile assassinations, including those of anti-mafia magistrates Giovanni Falcone and Paolo Borsellino, sent shockwaves across Italy. His mantra was simple: kill them all. Let God sort them out. When he finally fell in 1993, arrested while on the run in Palermo, the streets exhaled. But by then, the blood had already soaked the soil. Chapter 2, The Butcher of Ciudad Juarez, José Antonio Torres Marufo. In Mexico's drug war, the deadliest name rarely makes headlines outside cartel country. José Antonio Torres Marufo, a lieutenant of the Sinaloa cartel, was known for his barbaric methods. Operating during the peak of cartel conflict in the late 2000s and early 2010s, Marufo ran torture houses and personally supervised the murder and mutilation of his victims. His favorite tools? Chainsaws, blowtorches, acid. His death toll is estimated at over 400, though the number is speculative, hidden beneath unmarked graves and dismembered corpses. While Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was the figurehead, Marufo was the executioner. He was said to keep a private torture dungeon in Ciudad Juarez where enemies and suspected traitors were slowly killed over hours, sometimes days. The DEA dubbed him the Mexican Freddy Krueger. Few names inspire such dread even among hardened sicarios. Chapter 3, The Godfather of Carnage, Dawood Ibrahim. From the glittering high-rises of Dubai to the slums of Karachi, Dawood Ibrahim is a shadow king, India's most wanted man and the mastermind of the 1993 Bombay bombings, which killed 257 people and injured over 1,400. But the bombings were only the tip of the iceberg. Ibrahim's D Company is a criminal octopus with arms in arms trafficking, drug smuggling, extortion, and contract killings. Through the 1980s and 90s, he oversaw an empire where killing wasn't a tactic, it was an administrative procedure. Want to send a message? Kill the family. Want to instill loyalty? Kill the friend. Want to become the only game in town? Kill everyone. Though official numbers are impossible to confirm, insiders believe Ibrahim was behind or ordered upwards of 500 killings. He remains a fugitive, rumored to be under the protection of Pakistani intelligence services. Chapter 4, The Khmer Killer, Lucky Luciano's communist counterpart. You might not think of gangsters when you think of communist regimes, but within the folds of official state power are often the most organized crime syndicates. The Khmer Rouge, a genocidal regime that ruled Cambodia from 1975 to 1979, had many enforcers. Among them, Comrade Dutch, who ran the Tuol Sleng prison, operated more like a cartel assassin than a military officer. Dutch personally signed off on the torture and execution of over 12,000 people, all under the pretense of ideological purity. He took notes, experimented with pain thresholds, and documented each death with bureaucratic precision. Though not a gangster in the traditional sense, Dutch's systematic killings mirrored the deadliest crime lords, only with the imprimatur of government. Chapter 5, The American Reaper, The Iceman, Richard Kuklinski. In the annals of American organized crime, Richard Kuklinski stands alone. A freelance hitman linked to the Gambino, Genovese, and DeCavalcante crime families, Kuklinski didn't just kill, he innovated. Cyanide in a sandwich. Poison nasal spray. A crossbow from 50 feet. The Iceman got his nickname for freezing bodies to obscure time of death. He claimed over 200 murders, though authorities confirmed roughly 100 with confidence. What made Kuklinski terrifying was his detachment. He killed strangers for money, sometimes just to test new methods. I didn't like anyone, he said in a chilling interview. I didn't feel sorry. I didn't care. It was just business. He died in prison in 2006, taking with him the full scope of his brutality. Chapter 6, The Butcher of the Balkans, Željko Arkan Ražnatović. Part gangster, part warlord, Arkan was Serbia's most feared paramilitary leader during the Yugoslav wars of the 1990s. Before commanding the Serbian Volunteer Guard, Arkan's Tigers, he was a bank robber and mob enforcer across Europe. But it was during the wars that his kill count soared. Arkan's Tigers committed mass executions, ethnic cleansing, and systematic rape. The International Criminal Tribunal estimated thousands of deaths were directly tied to his command. Though technically a political figure, Arkan operated like a mafia boss, collecting war loot, running rackets, and building a vast fortune. He was assassinated in 2000 in a Belgrade hotel, possibly by rival gangsters, possibly by political enemies. He died as he lived, armed and surrounded by bodyguards. Chapter 7, Bloodlines and Bottom Lines. What unites these men is not geography, ideology, or even criminal specialization. What binds them is their total lack of remorse, their genius for violence, and their businesslike approach to death. Each had an empire, legal or illegal, and built it atop corpses. Their stories are not cautionary tales in the usual sense. They are brutal reminders that power, when left unchecked, always finds its sharpest expression in violence. The line between a kingpin and a war criminal is thinner than a knife's edge. As long as there are fortunes to be made and loyalties to be bought, men like these will rise again. And when they do, the body count will follow.